Hello and welcome to another DayZ IntenZ playthrough. The only difference is we're back in Chernarus. It's no longer winter at the moment. This is Terence Thomas, Terry to his friends and family. And this is going to be the only time I do a lengthy intro, because obviously we need to get to know Terry. I've put the skill points in and we won't deep it too much. I'll be honest with you, it took me about 20 seconds to pick these numbers. Terry is a retired firefighter in his late 50s, and when the world went to hell in a handcart, he was called up for reserve firefighting duties because of his experience as a captain in the fire service, his first aid training, etc. And he was separated from his wife Patricia, or Pat, and his two adult sons, Michael and Anthony, and their small families. He has since learned from colleagues in the police and in the military, people he knew when he was on the force himself, the fire service, that they have been transferred to a military facility in the north of Chernarus called Tisy. They was last seen being loaded onto the back of a truck while he was away performing his reserve duties. He also ran into a bit of trouble. Him and his colleagues ran into bandits who, luckily for them, left them alive, but took all their firefighting equipment, their jacket, their pants, their axe, their helmet. So it leaves Terry in a bit of a predicament. He wants to get back to his family, he needs to get back to Pat and the boys, and he's going to have to use all his experience to do so. It may take a while, he may get several knockbacks, but the thing about Terry is that he is a God-fearing man, he's a family man, and he likes to have faith in humanity. He likes to err on the side of caution, but generally he will always be friendly, and if he meets other survivors on the way that can help him, or he can help them, more importantly, he will always try to do so. But he's no slouch as an ex-rugby playing man, still quite fit for his age. If he has to do what he has to do, if it's something that gets between him and his family, he's going to do it. So we're going to get straight in, see where Terry ends up. And luckily for Terry, because of all his years' service, he knows the coastal and central parts of this terrain very, very well. Bit sketchy when it comes to up north, but he has a general idea of where he needs to head to, the general direction. But he's the type of guy who thinks if you fail to prepare, then you better prepare to fail. So he's not going to rush this. He knows he needs supplies. A keen fisherman. He used to take the boys, Mike and Tony, fishing a lot. So he knows what he's doing. He knows his way around a fishing rod and hooks and bait. He knows he's going to have to get those sort of supplies together before he can even dream of making it up north to get to Pat and the boys. And he recognises already where he is. So let's get into it. Pretty sure this is Chernarus. Or is it Electro? The weather conditions could have been a bit better. I'm almost sure we're on the outskirts of a little town called Prig. We need to get some supplies in us straight away. We need the ability to hunt, particularly the ability to fish. If we can find canned or dried food on the way, okay, that's something we are going to have to address. If we are where I think we are, there's a well very close by. So hydration's not going to be an issue. But I'm going to get into one of these train carts here, where it's relatively safe. We get a bit less exposure to the elements. We're going to activate Terry's ability, losing the immersion a little bit by going in and putting in some fictional perks, but get in there, Terry, son. Let's see what we got. Influenza resistance we need. Recovery of hematomas we need. Fast sleep. Iron Mind. I think fast sleep might be a good one on this one. Terry likes a nap. He's getting on a bit now. Stab wound surgery. Bullet wound surgery. Stamina recovers 10% when jogging or walking. You can run around. Yeah, correct. Breathing. Swimmer. We don't anticipate doing much swimming, but we'll activate it. Carry heavier loads. Yeah, we'll do that one. Strongman. Obviously, we've got to do bouncy. Silent steps. Cold-blooded. Dexterous fingers. Unfitting of equipment. Lighting a fire. Cold resistance. Rough hands if we have to break off some twigs. More lighting a fire ability. And then let's activate the butcher abilities. Butcher in speed. And another butcher ability. Good. We can't carry that shirt, so we're not going to pick it up. I'm coming, Pat. I'm coming, boys. We found ourselves a nice little raincoat straight off the rip. Gives us a little carry capacity. Can take this t-shirt just in case we find a blade and we can cut it up into rags, cover our hands. That's just a sweater. Yeah. I want to make sure I don't miss anything inside these items of clothing, though. Something's been dropped in here, I think. Some pants. Nothing in them. And then we can loop back down to Prig, get ourselves a sip at the well, and maybe we get extremely lucky. And find what condition is this collar dress in, because if it's pristine, it is. It will give us... Oh, man. I'll tell you what we'll do for now. Where's my flare? Hello? Just carry the flare for a second. But we know the collar dress will give us 6 pristine rags if we can get a blade to cut that thing up. A little rucksack of sorts would be nice. I mean, we can carry goods in. A skirt. We got a code lock. I'm not going to need them. And a face mask. I don't like the look of that dust mask. Dirty. Don't need that. A little small stone on the tracks would be nice. Would be nice. I don't hold my breath for it though. We're certainly not going to be sprinting and expending any energy that we don't have. Let's move our way towards this little hamlet, this little village. I mean, that gives us what the collar dress is going to give us 6 anyway. So I'd like to put the flare away so that my hands are free. I know these poor unfortunate souls, it's not their fault that they're the Walking Dead now. They were once somebody's sister, brother, mother, father, husband, wife. I don't like to think of anybody beating on Pat with their bare hands, but we got to realize they're not the people, they're not the souls that they once were, so if they get in our way, it's us or them. And maybe we find somebody who's got something they can share with us, you know? We can pool resources. It certainly would be helpful in the interim. But what I don't want to do is have anybody hold me back from my objective, my goal of getting up north. So maybe we run with people if they're friendly for a bit. But we certainly won't be tying ourselves down and getting sidetracked for no reason anyway. Like a military looking vehicle here. I thought we might have something on it of use, but no. We got some properties coming up, so maybe we can find something there. Thought I saw some movement ahead. Very dreary conditions. I think I know which way I would like to go, but it all depends on whether we can get the essentials, some basics. What's this? Oh, looky here, we have a knife. So we can make room for this blade now, and it's a pristine blade as well. That's a huge find early doors. We can make room by cutting up this collar dress that we picked up. Cut it into our 6 rags. Because we have a knife, I'm going to make the hand wraps, but I'm not going to put them on yet, because if we have to fight Zeds, do I want to really use my blade? If I can isolate them one at a time, I'd rather use my fists and save the knife. I know we're going to get bloody hands that way though, which has got more of a... Oh, God. That's why we would love a big rucksack, because things like that would be nice to pick up. But at this early stage, I don't think we could be walking around with that in our hands, tying up our dexterity, our ability to use those hands and let them fly. I used to be a bit of a boxer in the day, I'll have you know. Now this pea coat gives me more capacity to carry items, and we also have a sewing kit there, which is very useful. Could get worn rags from that raincoat, but I'm not gonna. So we do get good warmth from the coat. Not waterproof, of course. I don't like them. We like to be able to talk to folks, and we don't want our voice being muffled. Somebody taking that as a... Oh, here we go. So we can put our hands on now, because we don't have to put hands on the Zeds. We can use our wrench. What else have we got here? Another blade. Very useful. Let's have a drink, Terry. Let's quench our thirst. And then we can see what we can find over the corner of over the train tracks over there behind the train station. There are a couple of options. There's the big city of Chernarus, of course. And there's a bus station, if I remember, that we used to me and the boys used to stop there sometimes when we weren't on call, and we would pick up some snacks. I wonder whether people have left any snacks and clothing in the furore of trying to get away from town when the shit hit the fan. Excuse my French. Excusez-moi français. Have a big sip now, Terry, because there is another well. There's a little summer camp me and the boys used to go up to when we were on our holidays. Maybe take a weekend with the boys on a fishing trip, and there was some hunter cabins up there that we used to stay in, and I know there's a well outside of them, and there was a little medical facility in case someone got an injury out in the wilderness. So maybe we could hit that up. But it all depends on us finding some food before we go too far out of our way. If I rush inland and I let my emotions get the better of me, that I want to get to Pat and the boys ASAP, that's all well and good, but I'm better off getting to them alive rather than being half starved to death. Look at these poor sods. Look at this chap. Could be our first encounter here with this one. Let's get into this building first. We know their hearing is not great, but it's certainly not terrible. That's a terrible colour. Pat wouldn't like me in this colour, but she'd want me to keep my head warm if I can. Let's go in armed and ready, Terry. Armed and ready. I can isolate them. I think this wrench will do a number on their poor, unfortunate skulls. Yeah, it did. And we do know they can be carrying things on them. Rope, bones, blades, matches. So if we can, and we feel it's relatively safe to do so, we've got to be searching these folks. Gotta be searching them. Hoping they give us something that we can use. Like I say, Boy Scout in my day, all those years service on the fire service. Picked up a few tips and tricks of how to survive out there. But we're going to need a bit of luck as well. We don't know what's been left behind in this madness. I'm trying to spot one of those, I hate to call them things, but one of those poor souls carrying a rucksack maybe. People have picked up and gone and... Oh wow. Another blade. People are leaving lots of blades behind. That's one thing. Oh dear God. That one over there just looks like our Paddy. She looks like my Paddy. With her pinny on. Standing in the kitchen. Making me and the boys fresh Welsh cakes. Oof. What I wouldn't do for half a dozen Welsh cakes right now. Fresh out the oven, warm. This fella's not too happy with our presence. This gentleman in red doesn't seem too happy. Oh, I think he's clocked us. Oh. Didn't time that very well, Terry. You're losing it. Losing your touch there. Picked up a hematoma and a little bit of pain. But not a lot of reason. Oh well, we got matches out of this fella. See if this fella had anything for us. Nope. We move on. Oh dear Lord. Can't get over how much she looks like Pat. Oh dear. Another one. A screamer. Oh my word. Picked up a nasty cut off this one. She caught me good. Which is not good. We might have to slow ourselves down. She's got another flare. We don't really need that. Oh dear. She's cut us good. Wow. She's given us an actual cut. We're losing blood. And we're unable to walk any faster than this. While that wound is on us. We're not losing blood fast though. As you can see. We've got to deal with these setbacks, Terry. This ain't gonna be a jolly up north. To hook up with Pat and the boys again. You knew what challenges you were facing. So we got to put this one down to early experience. A bad experience, but an early experience nonetheless. That we've picked up a pretty bad cut. What I can do while we're struggling is make sure we're on top of our stuff. We'll slowly make our way over. While we're recovering, we'll slowly make our way over to the next little bit of... What are these pants? Low insulation, bad insulation. What if I fix these pants up to worn while we're suffering? We might as well be keeping on top of things. See, they now got medium insulation. It's obviously going to be better in the long run, keeping us better insulated. There's no chance of us getting a surgical kit to repair this stab wound, and I'm certainly not going to attempt to do it with a sewing kit that's not disinfected. Oh, look at this. A mouldy mushroom. Rotten. I heard a little word on the grapevine, though, that means perhaps somebody was in this neck of the woods. Been through the war's early doors. But sometimes it maketh the man. Get away from this more populated area while we're so weak in terms of our mobility anyway. It's nothing life-threatening, but it puts me in a disadvantage here, moving as slow as I am. I could be easily overwhelmed by some bad folks or the undead. So let's try and stay away, and obviously we're in the lap of the gods. If we were to come across somebody, we would be totally dependent on them having pity on us. This feeble old man. But don't be taken aback by first impressions. I'm made of stern stuff. 30 years in the fire service does that to a man. Some of the things I've seen you don't want to see. And you certainly can't be unseen once they have been seen. And that's a lot of scenes. Some duct tape would be good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fix up my beautifully coloured beanie, because we can't take this with us, this duct tape at the moment, unless we carried it in our hand. But we can at least, fix up our hat for some more insulation. I don't know if any rucksacks be around in these industrial type buildings. Could be worth a look though. Is that a burlap sack? This is all well and good, but yeah, would have been all well and good if we had some rope, but I feel like I need to, especially when we're walking this slowly, I need to prioritize where I stop and search, because my end goal in this short term is the bus station I mentioned earlier, where I feel we might get lucky with some snacks and the like. But there's a good chance, unless we get lucky here in this building, there's another residential building I believe behind it, a couple of sheds, etc. Unless we get lucky there and find something edible, we may get to the bus station starving. And this first attempt at getting back to Pat and the boys might be short-lived, but we're certainly not going to paper over the cracks in this series. It's warts and all. Warts and all on this channel. Not going to see anything edited to make me look like a fancier player, to make Terry look like a PvP god. This is pure, unadulterated survival. More items of clothing that would be good if we needed them. Let's check this shed and then check this building over here. What I wouldn't give for a can of beans or a can of peaches or some rice. Or some of Patty's cottage pie. Oh my god. Oh, look at this. See, this is potentially a very, very useful item. We've got to take these two. We need the sewing kits here in case we find some clothing If we find some disinfectant, we can disinfect the sewing kit and heal our wounds that way. Let's check this little cabin. There's not a lot else to check then. A helmet. More helmets. It's really not what we wanted. The sharpening stone is a fantastic find. Keep on top of our tools. It's just a shame our carry capacity at the moment is hindering our ability, should we say, to pick up perhaps everything we would need. Do you know what? I think that's teasing us. Yeah, I thought that was an actual tomato then. It's a kitchen timer. God damn it. What have we got in this piano building? More matches. Certainly take them for our pile. Anything upstairs? Ooh, now this could be useful. Maybe if we get another clunk in the head from one of those things. But it looks like we're fully reliant on the bus station having something for us to eat. I mean, we could go to the industrial area in the hope of finding something to fish with. Do you know, I might even change on the fly my plan. Because we're moving so slowly and it's quite a long way to the bus station, it would make sense that fishing equipment, hooks, fishing rods, rope, are going to be more likely to be found in a dock area, a fishing area, you know, by the sea. So even though it's a more built up area and there's more chance of us running into problems, I think we've got to make a decision here, one of those decisions that could be a difference between life or death, a setback in Terry's circumstance. But it also could be, you know, one of the best decisions we make if we find what we need. And we might have to plot our course. Oh, I tell you what, as well. We can make room for the sharpening stone, so free up our hands. Because we've got 11 matches, you would like to think we could start a fire with 11 matches. But now we're running the risk, of course, of running into people who perhaps aren't as nice as we are. This first half an hour since I came to on the beach, or on the coast, it's certainly been tough on old Terry. But he's a fighter. Quite literally back in his day. I wonder if any of these poor sods would have anything on them of use. Maybe they were about to tuck into a can of tuna before they became infected. Wouldn't that be nice? Can of beans, something in their pockets that could be of use. We need to, now with the state of us, we need to really carefully navigate these undead. Oh dear, let's move. Second, I was getting a bit blurry vision there. Still carrying that whack that young Zed gave me. Okay. First fella we've managed to navigate. Move towards this building. I want to get over to the dock area though, right over there. Gonna have to pick our path. We need to investigate buildings like this though, you never know what could have been left behind in the panic. Can't really read that, it's faded too much. Not much good information on there for us anyway. We've got some sneakers here that look banged up. Or trainers as I used to call them back in my day. Black beanie would be good, but I feel at this present time we do need this helmet. Give us that bit of protection to our head. Moving very slowly, of course. Pliers. Another code lock. We've been seeing a few of those around. I mean, what are people locking up in these days? What possessions are you worried about during an apocalypse? People need to get their priorities straight. And the family jewels aren't going to get you too far when it's difficult enough to find your next meal. Oh, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I recognise this area. There are a couple of guard shacks. My friend Jeff used to work along this dock area. There's been a couple of occasions where tyre factories have gone up and we've had to come out with the boys and put it out. I remember old Jeff, the security guard, used to be bopping between a couple of these shacks. I don't suppose you've left anything for me, Jeff. Well, you've left me a hammer. In this one, which we can carry in our hands. And I'm pretty sure we might be able to use that hammer if we needed to. We don't at the moment, but if we needed to mine some rocks, chip some rocks off a boulder, make them into something sharp, perhaps? It's these containers I wanted to check. I feel they would be our best source for fishing equipment. Nothing else for me, Jeff? Okay. There's a lot of containers over there. I don't want to give up hope just yet. Us finding something. I think there might be some bags around here as well, you know? In a dock area like this, people need to carry items. Oh, god damn it. We gotta check thoroughly, because some of these hooks are very, very small. Easy to miss. I don't want to venture into the town while we're this vulnerable, because the more built up an area, we might get some folks who really have got nothing but bad intentions. So this industrial area, we've pretty much put all our eggs in one basket, Terry. Oh, goddamn flare, signal flare. Oh, god damn it. And there we have the outcome of Terry's first decision that he really had to make. Bad guys in Chernarus docks. Ow! Ow! Why, son? Why? Why'd you do it, fellas? Why? Why'd you do it, fellas? I'm just an old man trying to get home to my family. Why'd you do it, fellas?
Hello.
Why'd you do it? I'm just an old man.
I found you and I'll kill you.
Who do you work for? Why are you shooting folks on the dockland, man? With nothing.
Enough.
Hello? Do you talk? Or did you just shoot people in the back? Like a tough guy. I used to know guys like you when I was a young man.
Where are you from?
Around these parts. You gotta do what you gotta do, son. I forgive you.
What your
I forgive
your
you.
country?
My country is Wales. You know Wales?
Englishman?
No, Wales. Scotland, Ireland, Wales, England.
Okay.
Where are you from when you're not in hell?
Australia.
You need Jesus, son. I'll pray for you.
Mongolia.
Mongolia?
Hey, bizi barmak missing every time.
What language is that, son? That sounds a bit Spanish to me.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye. I forgive you.
Thank you, man.
First decision, as we drop the immersion a little bit. First decision. It's not gone well for Terry. If he'd have carried on to the bus station, Mr. Mongolia there might have had a different victim. But these are the lessons that Terry has to learn, especially if he were to spawn in a very similar area. So let's get back to it. Warts and all, I did say, warts and all. Nobody was pretending this was going to be easy for Terry. Oh, dear, dear, dear. So having spawned in pretty much exactly the same area, Terry definitely doesn't want to mess with Mr. Mongolia. From memory, I picked up pretty much anything that would be useful here. We can't put anything in our inventory until we have a jacket or a coat that gives me something. The tracksuit jacket is bad condition, but it just allows me to carry the t-shirt, which we can use for extra rags potentially. Got the sweater, and if we move in this direction, if my navigational skills from my fire service days are right, there is a little hamlet of houses up here. Oh, dear, dear, dear. There's a little hamlet of houses. Where we might be able to find some items that are useful. And then we'd be heading towards the big city of Electro, which again could harbour people with villainous intentions like Mr. Mongolia back there. I'm not sure what his problem is. Shooting people with a sporter who are just going about their business, trying to survive, but what can I say? What can I say? You live and learn, and we We have to formulate a new plan. We have to grit our teeth and keep in the back of our mind, Pat and the boys are waiting for me. That fella was probably just poor, misguided, mistreated. We don't know what happened during his childhood. He could have gone through a breakup, he could have lost his family during this hell. There are some twisted minds out there now. We'll forgive him. And we'll move on. For he knows not what he does. We're certainly not going to tempt fate by going out of our way to go back and talk to him. We're not trying to sell the watchtower over here. Some people are beyond saving in these times. I tried talking and he seemed a little bit manic, a little bit crazy, I want to say. And after initially talking, he put us to sleep. And we go again. Here's these little hamlet of houses I was talking about. We may get lucky along this coast. I know this fishing spot from back in the day with the boys. Mike and Tony used to love it down here in the summers. Oh. Now then. Oops. Let me drop the collar dress here. All good things happen for a reason? Potentially? Someone's been kind enough to do a bit of gardening. Holy moly moly. It's going to take a while. We would get more nutrition out of these if we could cook them. What I want to do is eat a few, just to take the edge off our hunger and thirst. So we are going to get hydration from the tomatoes. But I just want to check in here. Oh, I know. We have got a flare. We have got kindling. And we have got our ability to light fires, which is not too terrible. What have we got at the moment? Damaged stews, pristine wellies. I think it would be prudent to go with them. Oh dear. That's what I didn't really want. She seems a bit confused. Oh dear. Lady, you're not being nice. Oh, damn it. Here's a bit of luck. The saw. Dear Lord. We might as well search them while we have bloodied hands. We just about got away with serious injury there. Glasses, my God. We're going to have a little trip down to the coast now, which is only over there, to wash our hands. take this saw with us. Because we certainly do not want... Oh my god. We certainly do not want to be eaten with bloody hands and getting illness on top of all the godforsaken issues we have in this world. Illness is not one we want. But we do want to eventually come back, probably to that first building. It seems the one a bit quieter now, more devoid of the undead. And we may want to cook a few of these tomatoes. We're going to get a lot more calorific content from them cooked. As my old mate Jimmy, the fire station cook, used to tell me. You'd be surprised, Terry, how many calories you can get from a cooked tomato. So, first things first, let's wash these hands. Our wellies should keep our feet wet in the surf as well, which is nice. Okay, let's get to work. Let's use these next 15 minutes or so to establish a better base, if you like, a better grounding for a journey, and that would be filling our stomachs. And at least taking some food with us then once we have our fill. But do we know the intentions of Mr. Mongolia? Is Mr. Mongolia patrolling the dock area? Does he have a base of operations nearby? Or was he on a journey himself? Was he on a journey himself? And if he was coming this way, then it goes without saying. Lighting a beacon, which would be the fire, might be asking for trouble, might be asking for company, but as the old saying goes, beggars can't be choosers. Wow, that was lucky. We'll leave some for some others. We're not greedy. Should be a lot more nutritious when they cook. Tidy up after ourselves, burn our old shoes, put our flare in there. Put some more firewood on. See how it goes. Mr. Mongolia tracks us. Anybody else tries their luck? Not a lot we could do. Don't want to make too much noise with more of those things outside. Keeping 3 tomatoes on my person, tomatoes on my person, because if we had to abandon the building quickly, we want to take something with us. So if we can eat these 4 as and when they're cooked, you know. None of our items are wet, are they? No. Pat would laugh at the state of me. She wouldn't accompany me to church dressed like this, I can tell you that. Let's get another one of these juicy tomatoes down us. Let's move away from the fire for a second, because we are overheated. Keep an eye on the tomato from here. We need to check these other buildings for supplies on our way out, but if it means fist fighting these things, one-on-one, not an issue. But if another one gets attracted to it, you saw then, it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. Okay, another one. Nice. Keep an eye on the fire from here. Lean in. God, Terrence, in your late 50s and you're playing peekaboo with a tomato? Oh God. There's one out in the field there, just minding his own business. As long as he minds his own business, then we'll mind ours. We've actually gone into the white for food, which is lovely. We might as well cook these tomatoes. It's going to really gripe with some people how you pronounce that in the real world. Oh, can we have a look? Oh, anyone coming? Nope. Does help our hydration a little bit, these tomatoes as well, but we've got 4 hematomas already and a bit of pain. We don't want to be taking too much more damage. The logger's gone. We're down to our last 3 sticks. Should be enough to cook a couple more. We've actually recovered one of the hematomas now. I'm trying to look at if I saw Mr. Mongolia coming over the horizon, then we would certainly have to make like a banana split. Pronto. One angry chap he was. One angry chap. I really couldn't pick out the accent. I'd be very surprised if he was Mongolian. Certainly had a touch of the Genghis Khan about him, that's for sure. Our pain is gone. It's just these hematomas we are nursing now. Like I say, we're not going to be greedy. We could have cooked every single tomato that was in that patch, but I wonder who planted them though. They must have had the utensils, the utility to do that. Wonder if it was some sick bastard's idea of a trap. Surely they would have made their move by now if it was. He sat there up in those trees as we speak. Last tomato on the fire. We might go back to the greenhouse then, for all the sharing in the world. Okay. Stealth doesn't affect. Some sirens in the background there. I didn't know the boys were still on call. Thought they'd lost all ability to react. But there was definitely some blues and twos in the background then. Yeah, I know the army, the military, the emergency services have managed to keep some vehicles going. Must be some of the big highways in the distance giving us that noise. I think for these next few minutes we need to try and search the rest of this establishment, this little area. Ideally without getting into too much bother from the locals, if any. Let's take 3 raw ones for the road. Oh no. Paddy, what are you doing to me? We gotta go back for this handsaw over here, because I know for a fact it puts them down quicker than hand-to-hand combat. Is that the tree I dropped? For the firewood, I think it is. Look, there's our smoke, like a beacon to Mr. Mongolia or any of his unfriendly associates, perhaps. I wonder if it's even worth checking. We've had a bit of food. Carrying a few tomatoes with us. I do know the nearest well that is isolated is up in that direction where I'm pointing now. There are other buildings, industrial type buildings, that are on the way. Oh, I've just realised as well. I might keep this for a weapon just a second. I was going to use it to cut up our rags and make space. We don't actually desperately need that just at this second. So, we've established a start. We've fixed a meal for Terry of tomatoes with a side of tomatoes. And I think you can guess what we had for dessert. Yep, you got it. More tomatoes. But they were cooked. The majority of them that we consumed were cooked. That give us quite a bit of calorific content. That should tide us over for a little bit. It's the hydration that concerns me slightly. The area that I wanted to check for fishing equipment and other utility, and away from the big city that is Electro, certainly initially, the area is over there, but the well is over here, so we may have to do another one of those life or death decisions. That we learnt the hard way back in Chernarus dock area, when we met Mr. Mongolia. You can very easily live or die by these decisions. So, Terence, are we going to address the vital, if we think of food, drink, medicine, heat, health as our vital statistics? My way of thinking is that we need water more than we need anything else. So if we address the immediate concern, being hydration, we could then ponder a little trip over to the coast if we wanted to avoid the city. We could check that area down there, which should, in inverted commas, be freer from threat, less populated, shall we say, than the city. Worked out of that city Electro many a times. The fire department had some great times with the guys there. The PD is just over the road. The hospital is just behind the fire department. These are all key points of interest that I really should check if I want to get supplied with the tools and equipment that I need to make this perilous journey to get back to Pat and the boys. Maybe I can pick up some gear in the fire department as well. And once we address this water situation, with a few tomatoes in our pocket, still, and those cooked ones still lying in our belly, I think perhaps we've managed to buy ourselves a little bit of time. A little bit of time for this old man to, rather than desperately consider his next move, which I felt I did back down the road. We were hurt, we were hungry, getting more hungry by the second. I felt going into the more populated dockland area was worth the risk in case we were able to find a rucksack and or fishing equipment. It backfired. We got taken out by an extremely angry young man. On this occasion, we found some tomatoes in the greenhouse. We decided to risk lighting a fire and highlighting our location to any possible hostiles to get that nutrition down us so that we could then move on, perhaps in a more calculated and careful way. Here we go, we're approaching the well. One of the ex-firefighter lads used to live in this building here. Steve was a good man. I wonder what happened to him and his family. Let's check this barn. Oh, a flashlight. I mean, that would be handy, but we've got nothing to carry it in yet. There's the well. That's going to give us the water of life. And I think as far as a start is concerned, we will search these buildings, we will get a drink, and then we will pick up in the next episode what happens when we venture into Electro, looking for what I would call some real supplies. But we're not out of the woods in this episode yet, in this start, if you like, more of a neutral colour. Oh. Okay. We'll keep our t-shirt for rags. Maybe it is something we do before we sign off today. We're down to 2 hematomas, which is good. Doesn't seem to be many more folk around, but there didn't seem to be either before we were shot in the back in Chernarus docks. So never say never, Terence. You should know that by now. Oh, a worn IJ magazine with a couple of bullets in it. We won't say no to that. We certainly now have learned the lesson that we're going to need to protect ourselves at times. Not all folks are going to be nice. Do you know what I might do? Not exactly fashionable, but it does go with our coat. I'm going to take the red skate helmet for a second. Just going to give us a little bit of protection, perhaps against getting a clunk on the noggin from one of the undead, or perhaps even a hostile. There's the dock area down there. And perhaps it's best we learn our lesson and avoid dock areas. Some apartments there and some buildings that have taken a hell of a hammering. Perhaps that's where they dropped one of the bombs. Try and kill a cluster of those poor souls. There's the fire department. There's the old tower. There's the old girl. We know her well. And I think it would be remiss of me to not pay her a visit. See if she's got anything for old Tell. But we keep drinking. After being shot in the back at Chernarus, we probably should be keeping our head on something of a swivel. Making sure we don't overfill our belly with water on top of the tomatoes that we had. We can always have another sip before we head out. But we're going to take a couple of minutes to chill in this building. Before we do that, we're going to recover our sword that we've left at the well, because I want to cut up the pristine t-shirt. And I want to make that, and I want to make hand wraps, because yes, if we fight the Zeds, we can still get bloody hands. We can still damage our hand wraps if this sword were to ruin, and it might do. But oh no, at least we would be able to drink and eat and not worry about getting bloody hands. Okay, and on the way down to, it has ruined, on the way down to the fire department in our next little episode, we will be on the lookout for a new melee weapon, of course. There we go. So if you have enjoyed part 1 of the Trials of Terry, DayZ IntenZ playthrough, please drop a like. It really does help the videos. I won't do this again because I don't like breaking the immersion. So I'll say it now. If you're watching it in order, please bear this in mind for all future videos. A like, a comment, a subscribe if you haven't already means the world to me and my small little weird channel. And I hope you've enjoyed the rough start Terry has made. But dare I say, things slightly looking up now for this reset. But thanks again, guys, for all the support, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.